What's going on YouTube? Florida Matt Knives here with a quick review of the Bradley Kimura, and this I believe is the Kimura V3, and of course with the Natural Jade G10 scales, and this one is on sale on Blade HQ for $109, and I believe the standard variant is $120. But anyways, this is going to be a pretty short review here of this Balisong. As you can see, made in the USA, 154 cm steel, and I do have to admit the blade on this thing is phenomenal. It came absolutely razor sharp out of the box, and then I actually stropped it up just because I was curious to see how well it would take an edge, and this thing is hair whittling sharp for sure. I do love the looks of it overall, especially this particular colorway. I'm a fan of this. It doesn't really come across as a Jade G10 as much, or a natural G10 as much as a lot of other knives, because as you can see, it does have the stainless steel construction, which the actual scales right here are laying against, but you could always dye these, of course. And then they do offer it in a carbon fiber scaled option as well. Now, a few things that I do want to note. Of course, you can see it's a tang pin construction on this thing, sandwich design, and no spring on the latch right here, and a phosphorus bronze washers construction on the pivots. But really wanted to note here that you can only adjust the pivots on one side here, which I could imagine would be problematic potentially down the line, especially if the tolerances on this were to get worse. Now, I do not flip this very often, I'll admit. I will not be flipping this in this review. If I'm gonna go put the effort in to flipping a live blade on the camera for the channel, it's probably gonna be with the Balisong Z, but just being honest here. Anyways, the tolerances you can see are not too bad, all things considered. This was one of the first Balisongs. I think this actually is the very first Balisong that I have bought myself with my own money that really got me back into it. And this is actually just earlier this year, so this is definitely a newer hobby. And then right here you can see that is the number one complaint I have with the latch. If you do swing it back around and you're not careful, it will interfere with the other handle when closing. However, you can of course take the latch off. I just have not done so because, again, I don't really flip this that much. To be honest with you, I don't know if I'll be keeping this long term or not, but I do like, again, the blade on this thing. You can see it is a nice bead blasted finish as well, which is definitely unique. A great blade shape for sure if you were to actually use this thing. Comfortability, I think, is actually pretty good as well. You can see they did a pretty good job actually rounding off most of the edges, especially on these outside scales right here. But really good grip, of course. There's that latch getting in the way again. See, the number one complaint for sure is the latch. Anyways, the grip on this thing is really good with the G10, but the price point on this, in my opinion, perhaps is a little steep. Depends on what you're comparing it to. Now, 154 cm steel is definitely fantastic at this price point especially, so I'm not going to complain there, especially if you're going to be comparing it to something like the Kershaw Lucia. But I do think there are other options out there, and I'll be doing a direct comparison between this and another Balisong. And then just a couple of other things on this particular one right here. Because it is a stainless steel construction, I do have to say another complaint I have is the weight. I'm gonna go ahead and bring the scale out here. Of course, it's teal or turquoise, depending on your view of it, but you can see 5.96 ounces. Now that is definitely my heaviest Balisong for sure. I do not have a Kershaw Lucha, and the reason I have not bought one is because of the weight. So I have, seen a lot of videos on this stating that it's the best, beginner Balisong that you could buy. And, it is definitely a good option for sure, but I'm going to admit, I don't think it's the best option out there. And I'll definitely be doing a couple of other videos on that topic. I did a few others earlier in the channel, and I think the Booker Plus Balisong is definitely a fantastic option if you're looking to get into live blades. And then of course trainers, there are so many options, but anyways, I digress. Starting to ramble here a little bit on this thing. You can see my fingerprint there on the blade, but as I stated, just really overall not too bad for sure, but not phenomenal in my opinion. It's a little bit short as well. Again, I do not really flip this that much, but for comparison's sake, you can see it is definitely a 9-inch Balisong as opposed to a 10-inch. Here's the Instant Knives Evolution and the Squiddy U for comparison's sake. But aesthetically, I definitely think it looks fantastic. Functionally, as far as the cutting performance, phenomenal for sure. You know, out of the box, razor sharp. Took a even finer edge with my strop. But flippability wise, it is just not my favorite. I mean, it definitely is very flippable. You can do it for sure. But I don't know, the handles are a little bit heavy. It's definitely very handle biased as well as far as the weight goes, despite it being a live blade. And so with that, you know, just wanted to give my conclusions on this, my opinions on it. If you're looking to potentially get one of these yourself, just wanted to really show off a lot of the negative perspective or negative things about this particular Balisong, as well as the positive. I mean, you can see that edge is really, really nice. Almost a mirror polish on that just from a regular strop. Again, you know, a great entry point if you're really looking to get into live blades. I just think there are other options out there. So as always, I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments below, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks.